say potato, and I say potato. That's what we're talking about today on At Home, potatoes. We're going to show you 3 really quick and easy potato dishes that you can add to your repertoire of recipes. And I like this because sometimes, you have a meat. Like when I make breaded pork chops, sometimes when I make not roast chicken, but breaded chicken, you don't have a gravy. You don't have a base for a good gravy. Sometimes you want to do like a piece of ham and you just want to brown it in a skillet and there's no gravy to it to make mashed potatoes or whatever else. And so you need some potato recipes that you don't have to use a gravy with. Well, here are 3 today that we're going to be doing. Let's talk about potatoes. Now, I like these little red ones when I make potato salad or whatever. I always use these little red ones because Mama always said these are like new potatoes. These are like more tender and they mash beautifully. And for potato salad, they're wonderful. Now, in the fall of the year, when you can get them about this big, they're tiny little ones, just put them on and boil them and you can pop them in your mouth. They are so tender and so delicious, okay? Then, there's another one. Oh, here's one of those little ones I was telling you about. And look at these these are white potatoes, look, and they're very tender. These are wonderful to make like a parsley potato, and even the little red ones are good for parsley potatoes too. Now, we're talking, do you know which is a sweet potato and which is a yam? There is a difference. The real orange one, this is a yam. The more tan-colored one, this is a sweet potato. This is more yellow on the inside, and this is more orange. They have 2 distinctive flavors, and many times people get them mixed up and say, oh, we had sweet potatoes when they really had yams. But it's what you do with them that really makes them taste a lot different. If you candy them or if you boil them and you mash them, whatever. These are so good for you. They are just full of good vitamins. And these are not, it's what we put in with them, like the butter and the sour cream and stuff that makes them really fattening. So we could cut down on that by using yogurt, plain yogurt, or non-fat yogurt. Today we're talking potatoes, and we're going to get done beginning with it in just a minute. But first, here's today's at-home hint. Here's today's at-home hint. Good quality scissors that come apart for cleaning are invaluable. Use them to cut chicken, pizza, bacon, pastry, and dough, as well as for snipping herbs from their stems and opening bags and boxes.
For updates, pictures, stories, and more, like us on Facebook. To watch hundreds of classic episodes, subscribe to us on YouTube. And to get hundreds of free recipes, visit ctvn.org/athome.
Well, the first potato recipe that we're doing today is something that I saw this made. We really enjoyed them. I didn't know what the name of it was, but I'm calling them cooked down potatoes because all you do is you cut your potatoes in chunks like you would for mashed potatoes, maybe a little bit smaller, depending on how much time you have to cook. And then you bring them, cover them, not way over with water because this water is going to evaporate. So don't cover like an inch or 2 over, just over the top of the potatoes, barely. And as it comes to a boil, you're going to skim off all of this starchy foam that collects. And really, you just keep letting this cook and skimming. Now this might take you, depends, 35, 40 minutes. But what happens is these cook down, they get softer and softer and it renders out the starch. And when the starch is rendered out, it makes it thick. It's almost like a creamy potato soup. But I tell you what, these are so good. These are so delicious. And you just want to be sure you keep getting that stuff off the top though. That's not good, okay? So you don't want these boiling rapidly to the extent where you're splashing everywhere. And you don't want to put a cover on them. Do not, because the cover, it traps all of the moisture in. And we don't want to do that. We want this to evaporate and cook down, okay? Now, the second one we're going to do is something called scalloped potatoes au gratin. And I tell you, this is one of those recipes that's just too simple. We made it a long time ago and we loved it, but I didn't do the au gratin, the cheese part of it. So I'm going to show you how to do it with the cheese. We've just sliced up our potatoes, and we probably use the red ones for these because these cook up nicely. Try to keep them all in uniform, about the same thickness, so they all cook at the same time. And we just layer them. You're going to put the first layer in the bottom. We've greased our casserole dish. Hard to tell you how many potatoes to do because it depends on the size of your dish. How many people do you want to serve? If you're serving a lot, you'd make either a couple of dishes of it, or you'd make a bigger casserole. But you want it to be in a single layer, kind of like that. Now, anytime you do potatoes, you need to salt, because you know they really like the salt. Okay, do a little bit of that, a little bit of pepper. Now, usually in scalloped potatoes, you have to have something that thickens the sauce, right? No white sauce. People make white sauce and put the cheese in it, and it comes out like a cheese sauce. Get 1 sleeve of Ritz crackers. Ritz crackers is a buttery cracker. Let me get that pepper off my fingers here. One sleeve, and all we're going to do, we're going to break them. And you just roll them. You can even just pound on them. You can put them in a Ziploc bag. They don't have to be uniform, but they have to be crushed up a little bit, okay? So as they come out, take your handful, just like that, and rub them between your hands. And you're going to put them all over. Now stick with me here because this works. You're going to put them all over the potatoes. Now you don't want like tons of it on there, just enough to cover it, like crumbing it on the top, okay? Then we're going to take some pats of butter and put here and there. Not too much, just a few. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to do some cheese. Now, that's the first layer. You're going to continue to layer this just like this. More potatoes. And you want to put the pepper and the salt next to the potato. Don't put it on top when you get everything else on top, because it needs to really go in and flavor the potato. Okay? And really, you just keep layering. I would say probably 3 layers is a nice amount, but you could do more. It doesn't have to come clear to the top of the dish either, so don't think, oh, I have to have a lot of potatoes because look how much I have here. Not necessary at all. My mom used to make the best scalloped potatoes. She would make them, and then she would put like a chunk of ham. After she'd get it and she'd have a big casserole, then she'd put a chunk of ham in the middle, and then the milk would cook up over top of that, and that ham would flavor. Oh, yummy. Yes, Mama was a good cook. She sure was. Okay, a little salt, a little bit of pepper. Okay, and more crackers. Isn't this neat? You say, Arlene, why do you use crackers? Well, think about a Ritz cracker. It's a buttery flavored cracker, and what's in a cracker? You have flour, you have butter, and it's probably some kind of a moisture to hold them together so you can make it into a dough. So why wouldn't that add to the taste of your scalloped potatoes, and also become a thickening agent for the milk that we're going to put on there? It does. Believe me, it really works. Again, a couple of pats of butter. You don't need a whole lot because remember, you're putting the cheese in there. And the cheese has butter in it, and it will certainly add the flavor. Now, if you didn't want to put the cheese in, you don't have to. If you'd like them without cheese, that's fine too. But we're just spreading it around, just layer after layer. We're checking on make sure our cooked down potatoes are going on the stove. They look good. They're still bubbling, and we need to skim off some of that white foam that comes on there. I think this will probably be maybe our last, yeah. This will be our last layer. Whoops, we got some boo-boos there. We don't want, no dark spots on them. Okay. Now, you layer until you run out of potatoes or you run out of room in your casserole. And then you're going to continue putting on just the same thing you always did. The salt, the pepper, okay? More crackers. It's amazing how this thickens up when the milk gets with it and it starts to cook. It's truly amazing how this makes the best potatoes. You know, I always wonder, who thinks up these things? Who sits around and says, hey, if we put some Ritz crackers in a bunch of potatoes, it will probably thicken it and we'll have a good, who knows? We just try it and we like what happens, so we do it. All right, more butter here, there, and everywhere. And then I'm going to pour some milk. This is just plain old milk. And you're going to pour it until you can see it, because it's going to go all through and come clear up the sides. Okay? And when you can see it over on the other side, you know you've arrived. The only way the potatoes are going to cook is if they're totally submerged in a liquid. So you want to be sure that you can see it. Now we're just going to add a little bit of cheese on the top. These will go into a 350-degree oven. If it starts to brown too much on the top, you could cover it, but I like it when it gets the crust on the top because that's what makes it taste so good. And I think you'll like that too. Okay, we're putting this in the oven. Preheated oven, don't forget. Yeah. That's supper getting ready there, boy. Yes. And we're going to work on our potatoes, our cooked down potatoes, and we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
If you love At Home with Arlene Williams, then subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have hundreds of episodes with all your favorite recipes, holidays, and friends.
Say hi to your fan club.
Hi, fan club.
And don't forget to click the bell so you'll never miss another episode of At Home.
Well, we've just put our scalloped potatoes au gratin in the oven to bake, and I'm still skimming this white foam off the top of the potatoes, and they're cooking down. They're getting there. This takes longer than you might think, and you want to keep the gas up pretty good to make sure that it does evaporate, because you'll know when they're starting to thicken up because the moisture starts really leaving and goes quickly. All right, for our third dish, in this pan I have some butter. And a nonstick skillet is very nice to do this in. We're going to make just plain old fried potatoes. You know, sometimes you get up on a Saturday morning and the family or the kids say, "Mom, you making breakfast?" And you're like, "Oh, I thought we'd go out for breakfast." "Oh, well, what would you like to have?" "Hey, let's have some fried potatoes and eggs and bacon." And you're like, "Oh, thank you very much. I really want to do this." But it's all right because every once in a while, you got to give them what they want, right? Okay, so here we have some potatoes, and they have been sitting in cold water, so what I'm going to do, I don't like that water on there, because when you go to put them in the skillet, guess what happens? They will splash and spit, and they go everywhere. That's right, Mike. So I like to take mine like this and just dry them off a little bit, just in a regular tea towel, and that helps to absorb some of that moisture. Chances are you won't get splashed on. You might, but not as bad as if you just pop them in there without drying them a bit. Okay, now I've seen people, they like to cube them, make them like in little pieces. Well, here we go. And you want to, I've put butter and olive oil in my pan. I like the olive oil because accompanied with the butter doesn't burn so easily. If you just use all butter, you got to constantly watch it because it'll start to burn. And once they're burned, they're gone. Okay, so we're going to put just about 4 or 6 potatoes, as many as you need for your family. I would allow about 1 medium size, maybe a little bit larger. Depends on if you have little kids or big kids and how much of appetites they have. But I do about 3 potatoes for Paul and me, nice sized potatoes. And we just start putting them in there. Now, if I'm in a really big hurry, like if I just come home from shopping or work or something and I'm in a hurry to do this, I will take my potatoes and scrub them, don't peel them, and I put them in the microwave for about 5 minutes till they're soft. Then I bring them out and I just cut them in chunks. And honest, you would not believe how good and how nicely they brown up, even with the skins on, and you can make them quick because you don't have to keep cooking and cooking and cooking them to get them soft. They're already soft. And it's a different flavor. I really like it. It's unusual. So now we've got them in here, and they're going. Now what I like to do here is start, we're going to put some green pepper, because that adds a dimension of flavor. And of course some chopped onion. Green onions are great. I don't care too much for the purple onion in this, but you could, whatever. And I'm going to hold off from doing my spices because I like to use dill, and sometimes you get in there too soon, it gets a burn taste because these have to cook a while. And they're just going to brown. You want to keep your gas up pretty high because look how nicely brown they're getting from that butter already. You want these to cook, and you're going to keep them moving until you get a nice brownness going. Now, some people at this point will put the lid on them add a little bit of water and let them cook through, and then they'll take the lid off and let them brown up. I do it the reverse. I like to get them good and brown, put a little bit of water on, put the lid on, 5 minutes, they're ready to roll. That's kind of the way I like to do it. So it's up to you, however you want to do it. But let's just keep turning these, getting them nice and brown. Over here, we're going to skim off some more of this foam. You know, these potatoes like this, if you have, like I said, a breaded pork chop, something like that, you can see how they're starting to get thick and the moisture is evaporating. You're not seeing so much the water there as you did before because they are cooking down. And I'm going to turn that gas down just a nip because it doesn't have to cook quite that fast, but you still want them to cook enough that it's evaporating really well. All right? Now let's go back to this. My mom, you know, my dad was a pastor, and Mom was always, especially Wednesday night, she'd have to have something quick for supper because we had to go to Bible study every Wednesday night. So she'd always be trying to come up with things that she could cook and get cleaned up quickly. And it was usually stuff like, well, maybe we'll have waffles tonight. Or maybe we'll just have grilled cheese sandwiches. Like it was, ooh, whoopee, you know. But we understood her plight because she had to get stuff done so that we could get to church. And when she would make these, sometimes on a Wednesday night, she would say, I'm going to open a can of cream corn. Because what Mama loved was fried potatoes and then a can of cream corn. She'd spoon the corn over top of the potatoes. And you know, I remember, it's funny how that when you're a kid, from when you're a kid to when you're a grown-up, your taste buds change big time. I would think, Mom, why would you spoil them potatoes by putting that on there like that? How could you do that? And you know, I tried it one time. Oh, I loved it. It's so good. And you think, oh my goodness, does that taste delicious? I come to find out there's a lot of people that like that. A whole lot of people that like that. So why not? You know, whatever turns your fancy, why not do it? We were talking about those other potatoes at the beginning of the program. I have found that I really like baked sweet potatoes and baked yams. They don't always have to be candied. They don't have to be mashed into a souffle or whatever. Just baked, especially if you're having something in the pork family or in a ham or even some kind of a chicken. Throw some potatoes, and they don't have to be white potatoes all the time. Throw in a sweet potato or a yam and let it bake until it gets real soft. Split it open when it comes out of the oven. It's nice and tender and well done. And then just put some little bit of cinnamon on there and a little bit of sugar maybe, a little tiny pat of butter. Don't make it swim in it. The sweetness of those sweet potatoes is incredible, and you'll love it. And you get to enjoy the flavor, the taste of it. It just it makes it a different appreciation for those potatoes than when they're all covered with sugar and all you taste is the sweetness. So I think that these are coming along beautifully. You can see the peppers and the onions. They're getting nicely browned. I'm going to put a little bit of garlic salt because I like to perk up the flavor a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to do the dill weed because Paul loves dill and we really like dill in these potatoes. Again, you don't want to do it too soon because sometimes that dill will start to burn in the bottom of the skillet, okay? I'm going to add a little bit of water to this and cook these down. And when we come back, we're going to show you all the finished products of our potatoes today. We'll be back in just a minute.
To get all the recipes from today's show, plus hundreds of others, just click the link in the video description or visit our website, ctvn.org/at-home.
Well, here we are with our potato dishes that we made today, just especially for you. And I hope you try them because these are not hard. These are not difficult, and they can be done pretty quickly. With a little planning, you could have them on the table very quickly, even if you've had a day at work or shopping or whatever. First of all, here are au gratin scalloped potatoes. Oh, and when you get that dark brown crust on them, oh boy. This is what I'm talking about. Remember I told you cook down? Look at them. They're so creamy. Look how beautiful that is. And you just add a little salt and pepper and butter to it. That's your cooked down potatoes, and they're delicious. Remember, you don't have to have gravy with them. And then we have our fried potatoes. Look how nicely brown they get. Isn't this great? And a little bit of pepper and onion with them. That's what you're looking for. As long as they're tender to the touch, they're done. And of course, you know, we're from Pittsburgh, so you got to have some Heinz ketchup, you know. Only Heinz for us here, us Pittsburghers. But these are simple, easy to do. And you know what? How about taking some sweet potatoes sometime and peel them and fry sweet potatoes instead of the white potato? That's something new and different. And I think that would be delicious. Well, we hope you've enjoyed the program today. It's always fun to come into your home. And thank you for letting me do that. Thanks for tuning in and saying, let's see what Arlene's making tonight. Or what Arlene's making today, whenever you happen to be watching this. You know, we really, really appreciate you. And even more than that, God loves you. He really, really does. Sometimes we feel unloved, or maybe we feel unlovable. Maybe we've done something that really hurts our own heart, and we think, gee, I really blew it today. God forgives you if you just ask him, and he loves you. And we love you. Thanks, family. It's always fun when we get together. So, until the next time that you join us, just be sure you do, because it wouldn't be the same without you. We'll see you then.
Food provided by McGinnis Sisters Special Food Stores in Brentwood and Monroeville. Taste the world.
Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home. Thank you for watching.
Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.